The AI bubble is going to pop in such a big way, it's going to make the .com bubble look like peanuts. You are not going to know if this image is real or not. You're not going to know if that person you're talking to is real or not, if this project is real or not. But if you look at it on a 10 to 15 year timeline, there is no way that AI does not intertwine itself into every way that we live our lives.
And welcome to Solana Floor. Today we're joined by someone with all the necessary experience to inform us about AI agents on chain, including all the malicious actors, because he's building at that intersection of the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to AI. So we're chatting with Miles today, co-founder of Trustless Engineering. Miles, GM, and thank you for joining us today. I want to start with a little bit of background on you. I want to ask when you first started building in crypto, and what was your first sort of moment that drew your attention to this AI agent narrative? So where did you start and where are we today?
Yeah, so I got my start in crypto just by happenstance. I kind of exited the Web 2 area and was looking for my next place and found a stealth startup on LinkedIn that was looking for an infrastructure engineer. So I reached out to the person, happened to be someone who I had known from the Web 2 community. And I was like, oh, cool, interesting. So that was the Dust Labs guys. Ended up building the infrastructure for their Utes launch. That went off amazing. It was great. And then after that, I actually took some time and went over to Helios and did a little bit of infrastructure there with Mert. I think Mert and I are cut from the same piece of fabric. And when we both want to see this area accelerate absolutely as fast as we can. Right. So I commend him for all of the work he's done over there. And Liam and Nick, the two brainiacs behind the scenes there, are some of the most goated engineers I've ever met. And then, I saw like, hey, you guys don't need help here. AI is this new thing. So actually, after I left Helios, I left Web3 and went and did some work in the healthcare space in LLMs and building infrastructure and scaling out just like large, high scale compliance AI. And kind of seeing what it did, right? Being on the infrastructure side, it really helps you to watch the smart people do their smart thing and then just take their output and go make it scale, right? And so that's what I've done in a lot of different industries and been able to observe the different practices and the state of the art. And from previous work in fintech, I kind of realized I had all of these things to bring together and say like, okay, let's go build AI primitives for financial instruments, because in my previous work in fintech, I realized that what really is valuable to these companies that are spending $200 to $300 per customer for customer acquisition is that customer spending habits, right? It's the data. It's where are you spending your money? Why are you spending your money? What times of days? When should we be advertising? And they collect all this data, and then they know where they can go deploy their products, right? Bring you into their stores, have you come out of their competitors' stores. It's like, this is cool. I get that that's valuable for you guys, but this would be super valuable to me as a consumer, right? I want to be able to improve my own financial agency with those same understandings that, hey, there's actually 3 other stores around me that have the same products that I buy, but for cheaper. That would be great, right? TradeFi, I don't think there's too many incumbents. We've been there for however long. DeFi is amazing. It's permissionless, and it's the ability for really the people to have a say once again. So that's where I built Trustless Engineering around. I was like, let's go increase the world's confidence in decentralized financial systems and make it so that my mom is confident in putting her retirement fund into some of these high yield, savings accounts that we can put USDC or PyUSD or all of these ones that are basically stable and, in my opinion, as safe as a traditional savings account these days.
Absolutely, yeah. So you took all of that experience from the Web 2 world, from TradFi, from your work in Web 3 as well, and then you decided, okay, I'm going to build these primitives that can help day-to-day people. Curious then, what are you working on at the moment day-to-day? What are you building? What excites you the most that you're working on?
What I love about Trustless Engineering is that I get to work on whatever excites me, to your point, right? And what has excited me for the last 18 to 24 months is this AI craze, right? I love the fact that it simplifies complexity, because blockchains are complexity at their purest form, right? And I believe in order for us to get to Main Street, they just need to become more complex. What Austin Federa is doing over with Double Zero and getting us down into like the infrastructure layer, absolutely foundational. That's amazing. We need that. Once we have that, we're going to be able to do hundreds of thousands of transactions per second globally in a nice finalized state. And we're going to need to have AI that can keep up and understand and explain that to people within their own terms and in ways that they are able to understand. And so both of these things need to get more complex so that that contract in the middle is even for the user to be able to understand what's happening with their money, right? I don't want my mom to say, hey, what's this transaction hash mean, right? Like, no, mom, that's your deposit yield. Don't worry.
Do you feel that the technology that we're building now at the intersection of AI and crypto has a potential to be weaponized by, states or sort of
I think it already
bad
has.
actors?
I think it already has. Yeah, I think that crypto within the socioeconomic levers of convincing large groups of societies to follow one political section or another political section, I think it's already being done, right? And I think that the within the mind is where it's going to start. And then AI, we're already starting to see the AI meta on the timeline. It's a massive bubble, right? I think I sent a tweet out yesterday. It's like the AI bubble is going to pop in such a big way. It's going to make the dot-com bubble look like peanuts, right? And it's because we all have these preconceived notions of what AI should be. And then there's people who have been doing it for much longer, aren't even looking at crypto and things like that, and know what it already is, right? And they're 10 to 15 steps ahead of the rest of us, I believe.
On that bubble bursting analogy, I guess the degens among us, the more speculation prone might say, well, how much bigger is the bubble going to get before it bursts, right? Can I still deploy some capital and see some upside before shit really hits the fan?
The dot-com bubble is a great example, right? Like, did people lose a lot of money when that burst? Absolutely. Was the size of the dot-com bubble anything compared to what the internet is today? No, right? It's a blip on the radar. So if you are looking at a timeline of a year or two, I would say that your risk profile should be very high. I think AI is it's a very nascent section, right? There's a lot of different people. It's got the potential for innovation. Sci-fi has put these wild dreams in our head, right? Like, things are going to be volatile. That's just the way things are. But if you look at it on a 10 to 15 year timeline, there is no way that AI does not intertwine itself into every way that we live our lives.
If we take that idea then of AI simplifying some of the complexities of blockchain and Web3 and really making the complex data human readable, let's say, what are your other high level takes on how AI and AI agents specifically in crypto are going to develop in the Solana ecosystem over the next 12 months or specifically within 2025? Let's keep it short term for now.
So I think this will answer a little bit of your previous question too, of what we're working on, right? I'm trying to keep it a little bit close to the chest. But I think that AI and agents and what we're currently seeing in the market today are going to hit almost like a glass wall, right? And that glass wall is what I ran into about 7 months ago with Solana AI, which is that data acquisition for AI agents is very, very hard. You can write a function, you can give the tool, right, that calls out to an API, call that API, get that data, stick it into your LLM prompt as a RAG header, and you'll get a decent response back, right? But that only gets you so far. You can only have so much context window. I think Google's now up to 2 million context length, but that's still only 2 million. What if I want 4? And you're not going to have that long tail memory, that long tail actual learning and searching, right? You're just searching a database for context. So eventually people are going to hit that barrier where these agents aren't actually intelligent. They don't know what they're doing. They're just calling a lot of APIs. So we're going to have to pull all that back. All these frameworks are going to have to get ripped back down to foundational structures. And we're going to have to teach these LLMs through complex DAGs, distributed acyclic graphs of nodes, very dependent upon what they need to do. Hey, are we talking about DeFi? Are we talking about an NFT? Okay, now we're going to send you down the chain to another node, right? Now this node is an LLM that's ragged and prompted very specifically about dealing with NFTs and DeFi, right? And a single question to these agents will actually respond with maybe tens or hundreds of actual LLM calls. That's where we need to get to. Agents and LLMs need to understand how to interact with APIs from a foundational level. Then we can just tell them where to find the APIs. And then they'll be able to interact with those APIs in novel ways we didn't even think of to come up with the answers to the questions we're looking for. So Trustless Engineering is positioning ourselves to be on the other side of that glass wall when those frameworks finally figure that out and break out and provide that data to them at scale.
What does that mean then for the average retail user? For the degens out there listening to this, how might life change over the next 12 months with the introduction of AI agents that can interact in a more intelligent way with the complexities of blockchain? What changes?
For the immediate term, you'll probably see a little bit of a plateau, maybe a general increase in functionality and features as additional providers within the ecosystem start to integrate their APIs within the existing frameworks. But I would be very surprised if we saw any revolutionary changes within the next 6 months. I think it'll all basically be fairly derivative. I think in the next 6 to 12 months, somewhere in there, somebody is going to figure out a way to do real-time LoRa refitting, fine-tuning of models based upon new information. These technologies are currently in R&D shops in a lot of the companies that I'm looking at and talking with. And so I know that they're working on them and they're making strides in those efforts, but it's going to plateau, right? I think there'll be some other meta that comes up and then suddenly it will just explode again and we will see something that's revolutionary.
Talking a little bit about plateaus and explosion, then how do you think people might be able to differentiate between some of the more legitimate AI agent projects out there and some of the LARPs? I know it's been a bit of a discussion lately as to how people can protect themselves from some of the risks associated with not necessarily knowing if you're interacting with a human or an agent online, on chain. So how do you see that debate evolving over the next year?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be really, really hard. I think part of my Zialgo project is confusion, right? I mentioned during one of the interludes that the point of Zialgo is to confuse, is to cause players to distrust each other, because that is what we all do already, right? And it's still in some people's mind, is Zialgo an AI? Is it just him? Who knows, right? And that is the point. Get used to that. That is what's going to continue to happen. You are not going to know if this image is real or not. You're not going to know if that person you're talking to is real or not, if this project is real or not. You have to learn how to do the research. You have to learn how to read the chain. And if not, then you're going to be reliant on people like me who are trying to build technology that will teach you how to, but it's not here yet. So you probably shouldn't be in the game.
Clear. What tips then, actionable tips, can we give people that are listening in terms of educating themselves, their loved ones? You mentioned earlier an example with family members, being able to interact with data and actually understanding what's being presented to them. How can we make sure that people that are listening don't get wrecked by AI agents or humans pretending to be agents in the coming year?
Yeah, do your own research, right? Look up block explorers, right? Use block explorers to look at wallets, follow the tokens, look at mint addresses, right? Look to see who bought early. If somebody bought before you, they knew before you. How did they know? Right? Where did they get the information? Was it because they're a good alpha caller and they're a good hunter? Okay, maybe. I have a couple of those that I follow and they have done me very, very well. I understand that. But they could also be part of a cabal, right? And just trying to bundle up a bunch of transactions and dump on people. There are 99% more of those. I think the easiest way to stay safe in this industry is to be trustless, right? Just expect that people are lying to you. Expect that everyone is a scam, right? I have a tattoo on my arm here. It says nullius in verba. That means on no one's word, right? In Latin. It's the motto of the Royal Society of London, or Historical Society of London. It's just anywhere you go, don't ever take anybody's word for it. Don't be rude about it. Don't tell them, oh, man, you're lying to me. Just say, all right, and then go fact check it, right? Go find out yourself. And if you do that enough and you learn where the places that you can find that information are at, it becomes very easy and very trivial to do so in a patterned way, right? You can even write yourself a script for it. Drop a token in here, go look at these couple places, see if it's there. If you're not scriptable, block explorers, right? Get trusted friends. But at the end of the day, if you're not sure, don't buy. That's the easiest way not to get wrecked.
That's clear. That's clear. And what are some of the top red flags that people can look out for then? I think it's fair to say at the moment with the AI agent meta, you had meme coins that dominated on mindshare. AI agents are now dominating on mindshare. A lot of the information that filters through to the masses, I think it's fair to say at this point, comes through places like crypto Twitter, which can be, for better or worse, informative, but sometimes also a toxic place. So what are some of the red flags that we should look out for if we are getting information from crypto Twitter?
The attempt to hide, I think, is a very good one, right? I'm a firm believer that the easiest way to dispel misinformation is with more truthful information. Right? Like if people are trying to block people's replies in Twitter threads, that's the first thing I do. If I see something that's not feels like it's too good to be true, I'll go look at the blocked replies and see if there's a bunch of people in there saying like, "Oh, it's a scam. Go look at this other project. Go look at this other project," because that means that the person doesn't want me to see that. Why don't they want me to see that? So. Maybe it's also because these people don't like what I'm doing, right? Since I've had the Zialgo project, I've had a lot of people come on to me and say like, I'm a scam and whatnot. So doing that research and looking for that kind of stuff, right? I think the other red flag is obviously this is all over the timeline right now, but bundling is a big one, right? People who are just buying up massive amounts of supply in the beginning, it's a huge red flag. It's also very difficult, and I want to play devil's advocate a little bit on this side, because as a project owner and as a company owner myself, it is very difficult within the Web3 meta to raise funds through a token launch in a fair launch way and actually be able to run a business, because you need to eat, you need to hire people, you need to pay bills. And if you take even a single dollar of token out, people fudge you on the timeline and say dev selling, right? It's impossible. Like, it's not liquid. Even if you have a $500 million token, you can't pull anything out to actually build. That's why I'm against fair launch tokens for actual projects that build. I did it with Zialgo, and I bundled it early on with that transaction because of the disinformation meta within the game, right? I wanted people to think, oh man, this looks just like a scam. Are you going to do your research? Are you going to look? Are you going to find out what's really behind this? And the people who did are doing very well.
And just staying on that topic for a second of tokens and sales and FUD, the AICC token launch happened in the last 24, 48 hours. There's obviously a huge amount of FUD around it because some of the leading KOLs, including Bankless, were called out for basically just dumping tokens without having any contribution, any value added to the projects from which they were receiving tokens. A lot of people got really, really angry. Bankless ended up rebuying all the tokens that they sold and issued sort of a semi-apology, clearing the air sort of statement. A lot of drama, but not necessarily behavior that's entirely unexpected from KOLs that get given tokens, right? So curious what your thoughts are on that token allocation, dumping, FUDding, repurchasing drama. How do you see that?
I think it was a complete amateur hour. I think that code is law. We have many primitives on chain already that could have prevented that if you know the structure wanted to prevent those early party rounds from selling. And I also think that because it wasn't, they had every right to. Right? They had every right to. I think that it feels honestly like the Bankless team is flip-flopping, like either sell them and take your profit and be like, that's the game, that's how we play. Or if you're going to buy back with the profit that you made. Buying back the token allocation that you sold when you sold it for 2 million and then buying back 500,000. I mean, anybody who can do simple math says, where did the other 1.5 million go? Right? Like, that's still profit to you. If you're really trying to make good, they could have easily bought back $2 million worth of tokens, snapshotted who had tokens at the time that they sold, and distributed evenly across them. Those primitives exist on chain as well. So yeah, I think it's amateur hour. They've been in this industry for years and years and years. They don't know these things exist. They do.
I think entirely reasonable take, and I wouldn't necessarily be shocked to see more of these token launch dramas happening with AI projects over the coming months and years. And who knows, maybe it's AI agent KOLs that get the allocation and then dump it, or maybe they get duped into giving all the tokens away for free and that causes problems. But I think it's fair to say that we'll see a lot more drama, a lot of shenanigans happening at the intersection of token launches and AI agents. What do you think?
It's just going to get worse, right? That's part of my desire for the community writ large, right? Is that the bad actors are growing and they are getting stronger, and so the good actors need to do so as well.
If I was to sort of put on my pure journalist hat in that case and say, what are you doing? What are you building? What are you working on day to day that is moving us as an industry in that direction of being able to combat some of these bad actors and helping people interact with on-chain data and have it sort of be human readable? What are the things that you're working towards making sure that's a reality?
Yeah, so the Zialgo project is an opening shot of our educational media experience that we are building around teaching people classical cryptography, post-quantum resistant cryptography, and how to understand and read transactions within the blockchain. So that experiment goes through the year of 2025. We are going to have, it's a trilogy, we'll have 3 episodes. So episode 0 is slated for sometime in the summer. We're going big with it. So it already, episode 1 transcended the digital realm. There was geocaching involved. Some lucky person was able to find the drop that I left in Singapore, picked it up and claimed a key. And then this will all conclude in the winter. And hopefully by that time, the key holders have figured out the puzzles and have figured out what to do, and they will be able to compete to claim a $250,000 pot prize. Yeah.
Big pot, big prize, not too many months to go. Where can we follow along and stay updated on all the developments on that front?
Right on my X account, WEDTM, that's WEDTM. It's just my own personal project that I'm starting here. I use Trustless technology to build it and to run it, but I'm keeping it isolated from Trustless because Trustless is not a consumer-facing company. We service enterprises. So I think I work there, but I'm also my own person.
Clear. Just before I let you go, earlier I was doing some research and I came across your Twitter actually that you just mentioned. That's what triggered the thought. And your bio, I think I'm paraphrasing here. It says building the AI that your girlfriend told you not to worry about, something along those lines. Is that fair?
I think that might be the old one, right? But
okay.
My new one I do believe says I build trustless systems. But the AI that your girlfriend told you not to worry about is a very fair assessment as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about that. Aside from the humor, the underlying implication there is that we should worry. There is cause for concern. So I wanted to sort of open that can of worms and say, what are your top 3 hot takes in terms of what we should be concerned about then?
I think the first thing you should be concerned about is you should be concerned about me. I have found AI and hardware to be probably the most explosive combination to date. And when I can get those things together, I'm dangerous, man. Like I've almost broken my arm with a robot swinging things around when I wasn't programming things right. When we start allowing kids to buy these things and just anybody to buy these things, who knows, right? And I know that we don't like regulation. I get that, but regulation is born out of tragedy and catastrophic incidences with new technology, right? That's what happens. Look at 3 Mile Island. So let's beat it this time. Let's not let the regulations get there before us. Let's get in the forefront of this. Let's figure out the ways to do these things safely and progress the technology in ways that benefit humanity. Be bold. Go into the night.
Exciting. Accelerate, but not too fast. I like that. I like that mentality. Miles, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. We'll be following along with all the developments, and hopefully we get some very good news about that price pool soon as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat soon.